What's up, YouTube? This is Georgia Outlaw coming at you with another video. Hope everybody's having a good New Year's start. I know I am. And I think you see the reason why. Georgia won the national championship back-to-back last year and this year. And now overall we're a four-time national championship. 1942, 1980, 2021, 2022. And that's amazing to me. I mean, I got to see Georgia win 2 national championships in my lifetime. That would be number 2 in my lifetime. Because before last year's championship, that was the first one since 1980, which I wasn't alive back then. So now we can say Georgia's won 2 national championships in my lifetime, along with Atlanta Braves winning 2 World Series in my lifetime. So altogether, 4 championships my state has produced in my lifetime. Anyway, enough with that. We can talk more about sports at a later date, but I'm here to tell you what's been going on with me since the new year started. Actually, it started back in December, and I got a few other things to mention in the video later. Well, I'll let you know what about later in the video, but let's talk about the story, what happened a month ago. So I was sitting there in a position where I haven't had a job since April. My boss at the job of me working at the lumberyard that I was in, he let me go in April of last year. Went the whole year without one. Although I wasn't broke throughout that year, thank God, I just wasn't. People go like, well, how did I make it through the year? I made it. That's all that y'all need to know. But I'm just going to stick to the story. Anywho, I found myself last month, same thing, because that was last year, 2022. I found myself a week before Christmas thinking about what my dad said months prior about me either getting a better job, going to school, or joining the military instead of just sitting around. You ain't going to get anywhere just sitting around, which I understand that. Nothing just falls in your lap. You have to go out there and get work for what you want. You know what I mean? Anything can be accomplished if you set your mind to it and work for it, of course. It's what my dad has always taught me is you got to want it. You got to work for what you're wanting to accomplish. Anywho, so I'm sitting there a week before Christmas. Well, a month prior, I called an Army recruiter. I chose C. Like I said, my dad said, new job, either go to college or school, technical college, whatever, or military. I chose C, military. Okay, let me try again. Why not? I called Army recruiter. This recruiter answered. I talked to him for a bit. Got off the phone, was like, I'll plan a sit down with this recruiter. Well, a month goes by, me to think more about it. I decided to call him again to let him know I haven't forgotten. Just a few things I wanted to do before calling again. I called our Army recruiter's office. No answer this time. So instead of that, I'm like, well, at the second option. At the same time, I decided to call the Navy recruiter. Okay. thinking, okay, if he don't answer, I'll call back later. Well, he answers. Who is now my recruiter that I talked to? He answers the phone when I first called him. Initially, the first time I called him on the phone. And this guy is a pretty cool guy. I mean, he's very helpful too. Trying to do everything he can to get me in the Navy. That's, a recruiter's job is to meet quota and try to recruit many people as they can to meet the quota for the Navy. Because each year they have a quota to fill for that physical year. Or, not physical, not PHY. It's FIC. What the hell? You may know. I don't run a business to, meet quote. But the thing is, I'm trying to get at is military recruiters, they have to meet quotas, have a certain amount of people recruited at a certain amount of time to meet their goals. Anywho, so I talk to him, I sit down, he gives me a practice test, which that kind of caught me off guard. That's why I scored a little low on the practice test. A 5 out of a 20 questionnaire, if you will, test, whatever, practice test. I think there was only 20 questions on there. Yeah, about 20 or 30, something like that. I don't remember. It wasn't that many because I flew right through it. I scored a 5 on it. This skip a little bit ahead in the story to say, last week I took a second practice test, scored a 15. So I jumped up 10 points. Well, in the Navy, their minimum now to get in the Navy on the ASVAB, I'm guessing the ASVAB, what other score are they going to give you? The ASVAB test is the only test I know they give you to determine if you make it in the military or not. For Navy, it's 10 is the minimum. Used to be 31 or 35, something like that. But I'm not saying I'm going to score just a 10. I'm just saying, last time I took an ASVAB and actually took one, I scored like a 32. And then that's when my cousin sat down with me and was like, that's not the ASVAB score. Because my cousin scored a 194. And I'm telling him, you probably thinking of the AFQT score. It's when they add the sections up to get your score for your MOS to determine what you qualify for. And then you got your baseline. Now, I don't know too much about how the system of testing works. Never was interested to know about how that works. I just know that's what you got to take to get in the military. But I know now that it's divided in the AFQT and baseline score. The line score. Anywho, I scored a 15 on my second test. Then he told me 2 weeks on the 30th of this month, 2 weeks, well, less than 2 weeks now, that he wants to give me a third and final practice test before letting me loose and taking the actual test to try to see if I improve my score from a 15 to anything higher. And I feel like I can, because one part of I practiced and scored excellent because I got all the questions right on this practice test was the electronic part. Got 16 out of 16 right. Mathematics that I practiced for, I only missed 3 out of, what was it, 11 or 15. I can't remember if it was just 11. And even then, that's not bad, but hoping I can do better than that. So I've been practicing for this since last month. I've been practicing, trying to get physical fit too, as well. Love to be in better shape too. But, so, after my third test, I'm going to be sent to our local GMC, which Georgia Military College, to take is where they send people to take the actual ASVAB. Then, my recruiter's already talking about and trying to plan when a date, an appointment to send me to MEPS, which is in Jackson, South Carolina, about 2 hours from here. I'll have to spend time in a hotel there for 2 nights. Well, there's a lot of paperwork and waiting in MEPS, but it can be fun depending on how you... It ain't got to be a boring process, but that's where you go. For those people out there who may not know, MEPS, military entrance. Is it entrance or entry? I say entrance because you're entering the military. And of course, you could say entry, I guess, but I say entrance. Military entrance processing station. You're processing your paperwork and physical. Make sure you're physical fit. I mean, I've heard people say, like I said, military entry processing station, but I hear a lot of people like me that will say military entrance processing station. Your entrance, you're entering. Well, entry, I mean, some people say it differently. I'm just saying, but that's what it is, MEPS. You go there, and that's where you take your physical, make sure you have no criminal background or anything that's preventing you. And like I say to people, and just like my friends who joined the military before me have always said, you'll do fine. Don't lie to the people at MEPS. But don't tell them more than what they asked you for. Keep it simple. If they bring up something, don't go into detail. Oh, I haven't took medication. I used to take medication. Their question, like for example, if they say, do I take medication? There is no, oh, I used to 15 years ago. It's a simple yes or no. Do you take medication now? No. So don't volunteer information more than what they ask. Simple yes and no questions. But don't lie either. Don't hold information back. Don't omit. Don't hold anything back. Because if they ask you and you say no on something that they can find out anyway. For example, there's some things about me that I don't know if they're still on my record or not, because I haven't seen my psychiatrist in since 2008, and he moved to a different state, so I don't know if my file's still on record at the office or what. And if they can't retrieve that file and those records, then if it doesn't show up, the way MEPS acts is if they can't prove something, then it didn't happen. Like my friend said to me when he went to MEPS, and they asked him, has he ever been to jail before? And he said yes. They couldn't find it on his record that he'd been to jail, so they looked at him and said, no, you didn't, because they can't prove, he can't prove it, because it's not on his record. And if they can't pull it up, and you say something like that, Either A, they're going to look at you and go like, there's no proof that it happened. Or they'll probably go like, well, until you can prove it, you're going to have to get a waiver for this or a waiver for that. You know, I don't know how waivers work. Like I said, I'm not an expert at how things happen in the military, but I do know a lot. I come from a family of military folks. But, and now to the end of the, so yeah, before I move on, I want to say, once you go through MEPS and you get sworn in, you can then either join the DEP or direct shipping to basic. DEP is delay entry program. I said that right. I just had to stop, make sure I say that right. Yeah, delayed entry program, meaning you've passed everything. You can go to basic at any given time within a year. You're delaying the process. Or you can directly ship, meaning get shipped out to basic as soon as possible, within a week or two. It might take up to 2 weeks to send you out. But delay, you have up to a year. Now, what happens if you wait till, oh, here I am a year and a month into it, I'm ready to go. No, you're going to have to go through that process over again, probably, because it's over a year. You're supposed to delay no more than a year, but stay within 12 months, basically. Say if I say I'm delaying my ship date to wait 3 months, well, they can give you 3 months or however months it takes or whatever. I don't know if I'm going to do DEP or direct. I'm just worried about getting through MEPS and passing it, okay, and swearing into the Navy and whatnot. Now, that's what might be happening. Me going to basic, and y'all might not see me make any videos for a while. Just fair warning. Now, off to the other subject of this video. Now that I mentioned to my subscribers what's happening, to show that I haven't forgot about this, but because he popped up and started harassing my friend again, and I've told y'all before who this was. Roy, you think I didn't join the military and said I couldn't, then why am I in the process of doing this? You're just jealous you can't. Because, one, you hate the military and you disrespect the military. So all my subscribers that's watching this, you'd probably hate when people disrespect this country and the military. I know I don't like people. I don't respect those that diss on our country or our military. Especially our own people. A fellow American that was born here to hate on his country and the military. That's a sad thing. Then you're anti-American at that point. But that's all I got to say about that. I'll make another video more into depth about that. I just thought I'd end that video, or this video, on that note of told you so. Roy, told you so. I'm in the process of going to MEPS to get my physical done and all that, to see if I'm physically fit to join the Navy. And then I'm going to basic. And then, how does it feel to be wrong? You said I couldn't join it because I don't have what it takes. Up here, I do. I'm always going to be a step ahead of you. But anyway, guys, hope everybody liked this video and hope everybody has a good Sunday. Or, no, today's Monday. today is tonight we have an NFL. The Cowboys versus Buccaneers. Usually, I'm thinking of Sunday night football. So sorry about that. Monday. Have a good Monday. I know it's hard to have a good Monday when it's the first day of a work week, but hopefully people didn't work too hard today. But anyway, this is Georgia Outlaw. I'm signing out.